I never really look at it. I mean, we all mess up, but I feel like everything happens for a reason in music, and you have to mess up and you have to fail. That's how you grow. And in the end, that's how you win.
One, two, yeah. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, sir, you are tuned in. This is for the SB1200, ASR 10s and NPC heroes. This is for the crate digging, loop getting, sound manipulators, the Fruity Loop reasoning machine innovators that pump the bass and frequently freak the kick in a stand till it slaps in your speakers. The sound providers that make sure the song is tight. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live.
Welcome to the Beats Grinding Life podcast with your host Siren, a weekly interview podcast with inspiring music producers, where every week you will learn from a different music producer how to potentially take your music career to the next level.
What's up, Beat Grinders? This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I'm your host Siren, and today with us we have Oomahmi. Oomahmi is a music producer representing Seattle, Washington. She started making music in 2015 after her father passed away. Since that time, she has been on fire. With established mentors like Sound Oracle and Crucial Keys, she is no doubt ready to make an impact in this music industry. You can check out her brand new debut EP entitled Muse on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google Play, and TIDAL. Yo, what's up, Oomahmi? How you doing?
What's good?
Yeah,
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Just glad to have you up on here. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to pick your brain, get to learn from you.
That. Pick away.
Nice. Okay. Well, before I do pick away, I just read a brief intro about you. Why don't you expand on that intro and let the Beat Grinders know a little bit more about you?
Well, I live in Seattle, Washington, born and raised.
Dope. Northwest.
Yeah, I think you're on the same PNW.
Yep.
Where we get all 4 seasons.
Yes, we do. Love it.
It is warm right now, actually. So I'm embracing the weather currently.
Nice.
But as far as a little bit about me, I've just been making music for 2 years and some change.
Mm-hmm.
I started out actually in visual arts and have a photography company now for 13 years.
Wow. Awesome.
Yes. So I've got a lot of my fine art installed throughout like the downtown area, restaurants, the W.
Wow.
Things like that. Yeah, so that's kind of where I started. I always say that I've been a visual artist since Light Bright. I was majorly obsessed with that.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's a true story actually. My mom said I wouldn't put the thing away, so.
Man, I was in the Light Bright too. I never took it as far as you, but that's awesome.
I was obsessed with that and the intro for MTV with the Moon Man. Nobody in my family could talk to me when that was on. It's almost like I had I liked the sound, but my eyes were super focused on that. And
right.
My mom would go, Polly. Oh, my government name is Polly, by the way. That's no secret anymore. That's on my website.
Nice.
But anyways, I've been in visual arts for a long time, over a decade, and music is something that I've just been doing now, like I said, a couple years, and it's been an amazing journey thus far.
Nice. Well, I mean, you're moving pretty fast. You're definitely connecting with established people in the industry, making great connections and building great relationships. And you just put out an EP, which I heard a couple days ago, and man, it's awesome. It's off the hook.
You love it?
Yeah, I do. Bear is my favorite song But for some reason, I do like the Siren song. Maybe because of the title, I don't know. But
I think you just want me to change the spelling.
Yeah, I do. I wish you would, but it's all right. I know that you can't go back and change that, but I will always look at it as Siren with the Y. So
hey, I'm all right with that.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, how we always start this podcast is we always want to know your beginnings. You told us about Light Bright and how you got into photography, but I want to know a little bit more about how you got into music production. If you just want to let us know where it all started for you, that'd be great.
Of course. So, I lost my dad back in 2013. And, obviously, the obvious things are, it's devastating. It was a devastating loss. And, you go through different grieving stages. You're mad, you're angry, and you cry. And I kind of went through all the stages that you go through, and that's normal.
Right.
Some days are harder than others. And then I kind of ran out of tears, and I still had so much built up in me that I needed to release. And music is something that's always been, I don't know my life without it. My parents always played music. It's something that I started listening to music when I was like 5 years old. I had my Walkman. I had a Discman. I would listen to like the Jets. I mean, going way back.
Yeah,
I just
we are
have
going back.
My parents would like bump Lionel Richie like crazy, like all summer long.
Nice.
So it's something that I don't remember life without. And then, growing up, going through some hard stuff, parents divorcing and all that, and just things that happen in life. Music's just something that I always turned to sort of pacify me when I didn't know how to do it for myself. I would just put my headphones on and listen, and I would feel better. And so with that being said, I thought, what about making music? I could try that. Maybe that would be a good emotional outlet. Maybe I could release some of these emotions that are stuck through music. And making my own, because listening at that point just wasn't enough. Right. So I just literally woke up. It was unplanned. I woke up and I went and I bought a machine studio, an interface, and monitors.
Nice.
And that's literally the beginning of my story, of my journey. And I had no idea what I was doing. And so I just got home with my gear. I got everything kind of set up. I watched a few Mac Pro videos that didn't help me at all. And I was bummed I had to pay for it.
Right.
But then I signed up for YouTube University. I'm still currently a student there. Nice. And I really learned so much from watching YouTube videos. And everybody learns differently, but I have to learn like hands-on, trying it. If it doesn't work, try it again. Right. Keep trying. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is starting to sound good. And so that's kind of how it all started, how it all began.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you, you said that, you were using music as an outlet after your father passed. Did it feel like an outlet at first? Because I mean, making music for the first time or first couple times, it can be frustrating because you're not able to
True.
You don't hear you hear a certain sound that you're looking for and you're not able to release that sound. So I mean, did it feel like I get what you're saying. Did it feel more frustrating at that point? Just trying to learn the machine?
No.
Okay.
No. Reason being is because it actually took my mind off of my dad being gone.
Nice.
So I was focused on, okay, I've got this. I want to do this. I'm a very driven person. So when when I make my mind up to do something, I do it.
Nice. You're all in.
And so and sort of like, instead of like waking up and kind of pondering, I kind of had this mission that I was on. I'm like, I'm gonna do this.
Dope.
So even though I wasn't producing the sounds that maybe I wanted to hear, feel, and all of that to use as an outlet, still helped me in the beginning as a sense of a distraction, and it was a great distraction because I'm so, you learn better when you're interested in something. It's like being in a boring class.
Right.
You're thinking about what's on your target list, what you have to do next weekend. You have that wedding to go to. It was almost like a job, and I could think of, I wasn't thinking so much about, I can't pick up the phone and call my dad. I was just busy on that machine trying to figure it out, buying, all the expansion packs, played like a lot of piano samples that my dad loved piano.
Nice.
I do as well. So it was pacifying, just in a different way.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's dope right there. Well, you said that, you went and you bought that machine. What made you buy the machine over anything else that was in that music store?
Good question. So I did do a little bit of research a few months prior, and I thought, what do I need like 20 grand to get moving with this music thing? Like, what's the reality of it? And I had a friend that worked at Guitar Center, and then between what he told me, like, hey, start out with this. It's one piece of hardware, and it can basically do a lot of different cool things. That way you don't have to buy 12 things.
Right.
And he talked about, Machine Studio. And then, of course, I went on YouTube. I watched videos of, I think Jay-Z was even in one of them. And these people were on this machine, and it had pretty lights. It looked like a light bright.
There we go.
And so I was just sort of like, and I was listening to people talk about it and use it. And I thought, and it wasn't crazy out of price range or anything like that. So that was just an easy choice.
Right. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have the machine now, and I absolutely love it. But I did notice that you made the switch. You're no longer on the machine. You moved on to Ableton like everyone else.
Yes, I did. I started with Machine Studio and was using Logic as my DAW. Just kind of made sense with as far as having a Mac computer. I was just like, oh, well, Logic would work.
Right.
I think it was April, I made the switch, I made the leap. After like a really in-depth consultation with Sound Oracle. And he's Ableton all the way. Yep. And Machine Studio is dope, and I still do sample from it. Since I did switch DAWs and went to Ableton, it was kind of a no-brainer to get the Push 2, because the Push 2 is hardware, but it's also your DAW.
Right. That's
different from Machine.
That's
dope. It's kind of like, why would I buy peanut butter without jelly? So, I mean, I got the full sandwich. And since I made that leap back in April, my production just went to a different level.
Wow.
And I think it's not that, your DAW is just a tool. It doesn't make you dope.
Right.
It doesn't, all of these things that we have in our studio, you could have, $100,000 worth of gear. You're not going to just be dope because of that.
Yep.
It's how you use it. And it's boils down to your ears too.
Yep.
And it's like someone going on American Idol and they're trying out and they're terrible, but they think they're dope. And people are going, no, really, this isn't for you.
Right.
Like, not even on a cruise ship are you going to be able to sing. And so, anyways, yeah, that was like the Push and the Ableton thing really just took me to like a completely different place.
That's awesome.
And I felt like I was able to do so much more with what I have.
That's dope. That's dope right there. Well, congratulations on that. Just being able to elevate your sound and your music and being able to grow. That's dope. Yep. That's what we all are hoping to do. So
definitely, it was the best decision that I ever made.
Nice. Okay. Well, in 2015, when you first started making music, who were some of the musicians and producers that inspired you, that made you want to do music production?
Well, I think that I think you would have to be crazy not to say Pharrell.
Yep.
I always look to him and NERD. I would rock, and that has such a different sound. You can't even really say what it is.
Right.
And that's kind of the same with the music that I produce, because it doesn't fit into any kind of category.
Nice.
And it was like a little like rap, but it had rock, a little grunt. Like it was like a lot of it was so many different types of dope. Timbaland, I mean, we all know that he's a legend. And as far as, just you hear a dope song and you're like, oh, duh, Timbaland.
Right.
Misty. As far as like, and then of course, I don't ever want to leave out Chad. Chad's part of Neptunes. He's more on the down low, but he's equally dope.
Yep.
As far as like artists go, Tori Amos.
Nice.
She would be one person that if I could meet anybody in music, it would be her. And I would just give her the biggest hug and thank her. And just literally like probably teary-eyed, of course. I'll get misty. I'm a very emotional when it comes to music. And I would thank her for making music. Dope. I mean, I would say thank you for making music. She came out with Little Earthquakes in 92, which is where just a few years before my parents got a divorce. So
okay.
She was always and I still go see her shows. I still follow her. Her piano skills are amazing, and she writes, she plays piano, and she produces.
Wow.
So I feel like if anything, that's the biggest triple threat ever.
Yeah, right.
Yes, definitely. And like the Foreign Exchange, Nicolay,
nice.
He's a Dutch producer. Super inspired by him. I love the Foreign Exchange on a deep level. And then Fonte, his voice is amazing. I love all of their music. So those are some of the people. I listen to like a lot of Fiona Apple as well.
Okay.
Seattle had a big grunge scene. We had Nirvana, Pearl Jam. My daughter does gymnastics with Eddie Vedder's daughter. So I
wow.
see him. Yeah. So we had, and we still do. The arts are huge here. But yeah, those are. I could probably talk about people and artists and producers that I look up to or love for hours.
Right.
Because it's not just one or two people.
Right, of course. But those are like the main artists and producers that inspired you, that helped craft your sound a little bit. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and Santa Gold too, yes. And Sade.
Nice.
I even liked Sting,
nice.
that sound. But then I could put Sting on and listen to Fields of Gold, and then put on Black Rob Woe.
Right, nice. So you kind of.
I don't have like a certain. I only like this kind of music. It's so vast. It's more about maybe the music I don't care for than it is the music that I do.
Well, I was talking to a friend about this. And they said, I love music artists that listen to music that you wouldn't expect for them to listen to. And I told them, that's kind of how it should be. The best musicians and the best artists are the ones that have a wide range of music that they listen to. They're not just listening to one type. They're drawing inspiration from all over the place. Those make the best musicians.
I agree completely.
Nice. So it sounds like you're definitely on the right path. You're drawing inspiration from everywhere. And a lot of those artists inspire me as well. except for maybe Tori Amos. I know of her, but I don't know much of her music. So when I get off of here with you, I'm definitely gonna go and check out some of her music. Probably YouTube and see if I can see her piano skills.
Oh, okay. So if you can't for some reason find this on you could see it on YouTube, but Precious Things, and I believe it was filmed a long time ago, so it's gonna look super outdated, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You'll watch her on piano and you won't believe your eyes.
Wow. Nice. Precious Things.
And the way that she sits when she plays the piano isn't there's nothing traditional about her. She's so unique and different, and that's what I love. I love like different. Someone that does something different. The way she sits and how into her music, because I think even with production, beat making, if you're a singer, no matter what role you play in music, I feel like if you're different, you stand out.
Right.
Like you have to mean your music. So if you're in music and you're just doing it because you want to tell all your buddies that you're doing it, you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you're in it because you want to make a buck or two, it might be short-lived, but she means her music, and you'll watch it and you'll see her face and you'll watch her body movement. You'll watch her hands on the piano and how she sings when she closes her eyes, different faces she makes, and she writes all of her own material. So she's every level of dope to me. Nice.
Well, I can't wait to check that out now. I mean, if you didn't sell me before, you definitely sold me this time. So I will check that out on YouTube when I get off of this call with you for sure.
Yes,
so,
and then you have to shoot me a message about what you thought.
Okay, no doubt. I definitely will.
Okay, cool.
Well, here on Beats Grinding Life, we always hail the producer that's the guest on here because you are dope. But we know we're going to talk about all the great times that you've had doing music, all the great things that you're doing now. But we know that the journey to greatness in the music industry isn't always great. There's going to be some hard times. There's going to be some setbacks. And so I want to know a major failure or setback that you've had.
Okay. I never really look at it. I mean, we all mess up, but I feel like everything happens for a reason in music, and you have to mess up and you have to fail. That's how you grow.
Indeed, yep.
And in the end, that's how you win. For me, like my personal struggle in my journey is, as far as arrangement goes, I was stuck in an 8-bar world. And I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't make it happen.
Right.
And I was just stuck, and then I kind of like scooted to 12 bars, and I'm like, okay, dope. I did it. I got to 12. Then I got super stuck at 12. And I was, I'm driven and I'm hungry, and I want I wanted to be good. I wanted to be, get better and keep getting better. So I don't know if you want to call that a failure, but I was stuck at the 12 bar spot for a couple months. And I got very frustrated no matter what video I watched. People talking about their experiences or how to get past that, or here's what you should do, or different like self-helps. Nothing was clicking. I couldn't get anything to click. And so I was stuck in that for a couple months, and that was very difficult because I thought, is this what I'm going to be? Am I going to just sit here and like let 12 bars loop forever? I mean, that's not dope at all.
No, it's not. But at the same time, I want to know how did you get out of that? Because I feel that way for me. I feel like I'm stuck in a 8-bar loop as well.
Yes.
So yeah, what did you do? Maybe you can help me out.
I didn't really. It was one of those things that I just had to kind of like go through it and let it take its course to get out of it. I've always had the mindset of never try and force anything. Don't try to put things together that don't fit, and keep it organic.
Nice.
And so I stepped away for production for a couple months. I went out and I started shooting portraits, and I was like kind of full throttle back into visual arts. And because I had to just step away. Otherwise I was like banging my head, and that's just not healthy, So I think the best thing to do is to step away for a minute. People, I think, fear that because they fear like if they step away, they won't come back.
Right.
But that never crossed my mind. I just knew I needed a break. I needed to step away. One thing that helps me is being out in nature, and that also inspires me a ton. So I took a few road trips, was out in nature, just stepped away from music, and decided after a couple months of my sabbatical, I got back on my machine and I started firing on all cylinders.
Nice.
So
nearly,
I just had to step away. I was grinding so hard, so many hours, and knew that me sitting there trying to make things be a certain way, it wasn't helping me at all. So for me, it was just taking a break. It's pretty simple. It was just taking a break, coming back fresh, not so frustrated, kind of clean slate. And I still had retained what I had learned, and then I was able to just get back on there, and it started clicking.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Maybe that will help me out and some of the other beat grinders that are listening. I know I'm afraid to step away because I'm the type of person that if I'm not on it every day, it's hard for me to get back into it. I don't fire on all cylinders like that. It takes me at least a couple hours, like a day or a couple days to get back into it if I take a long break. But at the same time, it's worth trying for sure.
If you believe in yourself enough, and that's the poster. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in what you're doing and what you're creating.
Right.
And if you do, you have to be, then and it doesn't even really cross your mind so much that when you come back to it, it's still there for you.
Right.
And you can't forget that. So
nice. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Of course.
Well, let's hop to the other side of that. I want to know what's the greatest moment that you've had in your career thus far?
I'm not there yet.
Nice.
I haven't gotten there. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. I will say producing and putting this EP out is great, and it's a great feeling, and it's a super sense of accomplishment.
Yep.
So I mean, if I have to pick something that's been the greatest thing, it's being able to make this music and share it with everybody, because the reason I make music is because I love it, but it's also because I want to make people feel good.
Nice.
I want to give people, it's like giving back. How much music has helped me, I want to be that person that helps someone.
Dope.
Even if it's one person.
Right. That's the greatest feeling in the world too.
It is, and people screenshotting that they're on iTunes, they just bought my EP, or I've had people video the whole process of being on iTunes. Look, I'm buying it, and they're making people excited about your music and making them feel a certain way, and whatever, as long as it's positive and it makes them feel, then that's everything to me.
Yep. No doubt. Well, man, I mean, that sounds like you've had a great achievement here, but I mean, sounds like you're also waiting for bigger, grander things to happen in your career as well.
Definitely. So. I'm only 2 years, almost 2.5 years. So I feel like in the big scheme of things, in the big picture, that's not very long.
Right. No, it's not. You're right. Well, I mean, when you do hit your biggest accomplishment or or your biggest goal. I'm sure we'll definitely all see it and hear it. But definitely you gotta hit up Beats Grinding Life and let us know when that happens. So
you know it.
All right. Well, here here on Beats Grinding Life, we're all striving for greatness. Every day we're doing what we can to be just as good as Oomahmi. So we want to know, what do you do on a typical day, so that way we can set our day up just like yours and become as great as you?
This is where my answer might be a little different.
That's fine.
There's really nothing typical about my days.
Okay.
As far as creating music, I'm most creative, I can say, at nighttime. That's maybe in the typical category, but
right.
I never do anything the same when it comes to music, minus making my melodies first and then drums.
Okay.
Every other process is jumbled and different, and I pull things from different sources, and so there's nothing that I do that is typical as far as like my life. Being a mother of two, finding a good balance between my personal life and music, because I can't be 100% married to music all the time. I have to be a mother.
Right.
So that's key. That could have been maybe in the little bit of a struggle question, because I wanted to grind so hard, but being a mom is first and will always be.
Right. Yeah.
And so I found that, and I'm a Libra, so we're the scales. We live for balance.
Right.
We search for balance.
Nice.
Yeah. So my days are always really different.
Okay.
I don't have like a certain way that I do anything. It's what I call unplanned dopeness.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's great. I'm glad that you shared that. I'm sure that we have some listeners listening that can totally relate with you, because right now I'm relating with you. I have a 14-month-old and
right.
another one on the way. So I'm going to be a father of two, and just trying to find that balance, trying to get in here and at least spend 4 hours a day on music. It's tough.
It is tough. And if you want it bad enough, just like with anything in life, you find a way.
Yep, you'll find a way.
It might be a struggle at first, like, man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, meaning like I'm not getting enough time in the studio, or I forgot to make my son sandwich, or there's different things, but if you want it bad enough, you find a way to make it work.
Right. Yep. No doubt. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. That's definitely a quote that we can put up on a billboard. If you want it bad enough, definitely
or
make
it
happen.
A t-shirt.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. Yeah, we definitely need to do that with your name underneath in quotation marks. So for sure.
I'm with it.
Okay, well, this next portion of the interview we like to call In the Studio. I wish I could be there in Seattle making beats with you, but we know that can't happen right now. I'm down here in Portland, Oregon, so the next best thing is this portion of the interview where we get to find out what you do in the studio. You down for it?
Well, sure.
Okay, well, let's do it. What do you do first when you start crafting beats? Do you have a set ritual? Do you light incense? Do you tuck the kids to bed? Is there anything that you do?
So funny you say that, because I have the biggest supply of Nag Champa in the country.
What? That
you know
sounds
what Nag Champa is?
It sounds familiar. What is it?
It's incense.
Okay, nice.
And it's like one of my. I'm also like, lights are huge. Mood lighting. And like I said, since I was little, lights have affected me in a deep way. I do have rituals as far as my creative area needs to be a certain way for me to be my best.
Right. How was that?
What's that?
How is that? I mean, what does your creative area need to be?
Right. So I do have my Nag Champa burning.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I'm kind of using all my 5 senses is where I think I'm best.
Nice.
So I've got, my visuals, and then I've got my Nag Champa. I've got my lighting. I have different mood lighting, and it's all set in my studio,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all presets. I think it's called Hue. It's
Okay.
Hue lighting. I believe it's made by Philips.
Nice.
And so I change my lighting depending on my mood.
That's awesome.
And then I've got my Nag Champa burning.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, at night I am most creative, so I'll have some tea.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just things that feel good.
Awesome.
So I think when we feel good, and we for me, I do my best when I feel good. When I'm frustrated or have things on my mind is cluttered with 24 things.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult for me to be creating music.
Right.
So it's like a really great wind down time. And it's not that I don't create during the day. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I'm most creative at nighttime, and it's just quiet. And I need things to be quiet. I need it to smell good. My and my lighting. Those are key elements for me.
Nice. Okay. I mean, the ambiance sounds great. I mean, that's dope right there.
And I have my piece. This is funny because I get messages all the time about where I have an LED light that's a hand that's flipping the peace sign.
Nice. Okay.
It changes colors because I'm all about good vibes.
Right.
I don't do any bad vibe stuff. I'm good vibes. I don't really do, if you're negative or put anything on my page that is negative, you have to go.
Yeah, I got it. Yep. Peace. Get blocked.
And that's where the peace things come in. And it does change colors. And it's funny because I see images when I make music, and that's just the visual person in me. So I could go into this. This would probably be actually another interview, but there's, blue, yellow, light blue, purple, white, red, and green. So each of those kind of stands for a different positive mood that I'm in.
Okay.
So that's another part of my surrounding that gets me in the mood, gets me really fired up in the mind to make great music.
Nice. That's awesome. I noticed that you do go on Instagram Live a lot. Is there a possibility that we may be able to see that while you're on Instagram Live?
Of course.
Nice. Okay. Well, can't wait. Beat Grinders, you guys go follow Oomahmi on Instagram, and maybe you'll get to see the lighting and get to see the smoke from the incense and her drinking her tea and making some bangers.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, in that studio, what's a not so secret weapon that you have in there?
Well, I'd have to say my ears.
Dope. Nice.
My ears.
Nice.
There's no secret that you can, and this goes back to earlier in the convo, that, we have all these tools, right? But if you don't have good ears, I don't know that any of that matters.
Nice. I want to say he said the same thing, but man, you definitely learned from one of your mentors, because I want to say Sound Oracle said the same exact thing for that question.
Did he really?
Yeah, I believe so. I got to go back and check, but I believe he said his ears. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and I say that too, real quick. I say that too because I don't play an instrument and I don't read music. I just have good ears.
Right. Nice. Yep. Yeah. When you don't play, I mean, that's all you can rely on. Even people that do play instruments and read music, I mean, well, maybe not. I don't know where I was going with that one, but
that's okay. Yeah, no, but I think your ears are key. I mean, because you're hearing what you're creating.
Yep.
And you're going to have other people listen to the same thing. So good ears are key, especially if you're not rocking out on a guitar, and you can read music, and you know all about music theory and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't go to school for this. So it's, my ears have been and my drive, but my ears have been, the ticket, really.
Nice. And the great thing about that too is you can train your ears to get better.
Absolutely.
Which is cool. So
definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, you did mention some of the things that you have in the studio, but I want to know, what else do you have in there? What's all in your toolbox? What all are you using?
So I pretty much said what I have. Obviously, for my software, I've got Ableton Live, and then I've got a Push 2. And I have a MIDI. I use a lot of VSTs from Output. And when I first got turned on to their fairly new company, they recommended the Arturia KeyStep.
Nice.
So I have my MIDI, I have my push, my monitors, my interface, and Ableton Live. I'm not necessarily a gearhead. I'm kind of a minimalist. I just use what I need, and This is all I need. Yeah,
keep it simple. I mean, it's definitely creating some great music from what I've heard on the EP. So you're definitely doing some great things with it. So, all right.
And I still do have Machine Studio in my studio. A lot of people were upset. They're like, "Where'd it go? We don't need it anymore." Like, some of the hardcore, Machine people. I'm like, I swear, people, I did not kick it to the curb. I didn't, sell it to my neighbor or anything like that. It's still here. I have probably every expansion pack for Machine. Few of those expansion packs were created by my friend Capson, who is super dope. And so I still sample from that. His expansion packs are the best, and I usually use those to sample from.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
nice.
He's on another level. Amazing.
Okay, well, that's dope. Yeah, I do remember when when you made the switch over you announced it on the Unquantized podcast, and you're like,
yes,
I just ordered it. It's coming in the mail, and I was like, man, damn, everyone is switching to Ableton. It's crazy. But,
and in the beginning, I couldn't figure out, like, what's the big deal, like, you hear about something, and you're like, okay, well, whatever, I've got this. What's the big deal? And then I had a consultation with Sound Oracle, and it was, in great length.
Nice.
And it just, it's like everybody likes their sandwich made a certain way. And this is my sandwich. This is how I like my sandwich. And it's why I bought a Mac and not a PC, because my brain works better with Safari.
Right.
And it's just how you like to work. And it doesn't make you necessarily, you're not better than somebody else because you have Ableton or your, FL or whatever. Again, your DAW is just a tool.
Yep.
But it made sense when we had that talk. It made sense as far as like what I was trying to, the sound that I was going for and what I was trying to accomplish. And me looking up to him so much, like a sensei, like him. I still do. He's been so amazing, and kind of always been there for me.
Nice.
Through like any question I had. He was never too busy or anything like that. So it was an easy choice after that consultation to just make the leap, and it felt right. And I go with my gut, and so I ordered it, and it came. And at first, Ableton, if you have looked at both, like Logic and Ableton, it's like there's nothing the same about it. So here I had gone all this time in Logic, and then I went, after I got it, I was so excited, like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I'm like,
what do I do?
I'm Ableton, and people do ask me that in my live. They'll ask, what DAW, if they don't know or whatever, and they're like, I've tried that or I've looked at it or whatever, and it's honestly intimidating.
Right.
And I tell them it was for me too.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very intimidating at first, maybe not to everybody, but I know a lot of people have said that, and I know I felt that way.
Right.
And it wasn't just because it was new. It was just like, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot in front of me.
Right.
It's not simple. It's not a simple layout at first. But again, I watched tons of videos. Ableton has a thing they walk you through. They have their own tutorials.
Nice. Okay.
So they grab your hand and say, "Hey, let me show you how to use this."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I grabbed their hand back and I went through and I learned it. And it wasn't an immediate like, "Oh, I got this figured out."
Right.
That's not realistic. But now that I've had enough time on it, I can't imagine not having it. It's an amazing tool.
That's dope. That's so dope. I kind of want to try it. I don't want to be that type that just switches. Because I was using the MPC before, and then for about 4 years now, maybe on the machine, and I don't know. Maybe I can try someone else's and see if I like it or not. But I don't know if I want to make that leap like that. But
yeah, and you have to feel like you can't be. We're not gonna, we're not in high school, so it's like you can't feel like it's a peer pressure thing or like, Bobby, Joey, and Billy are using that. They're dope. So if I use it, I'm gonna be dope.
Right.
You have to do it because you feel like it's the right switch. And by all means, I know producers that can use like 5 DAWs. And shout out to them because I can't.
Right.
I'm not, and I haven't tried, and I'm okay with where I'm at right now. But just because you use one doesn't mean that you have to. I don't know. You have to use all of them, or you have to be great at all of them. But again, it goes back to it's just your tool, and it's your sandwich.
Yep.
That's my thing that I've made up. A lot of people have taken. I picture myself at Subway when they ask you what you want on your sandwich.
Right.
Like, you want olives? Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is like, like you said, it's just a tool. It doesn't matter what you use as long as you master whatever you use. As long as you can make the best music possible that you can with that tool. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter how many lights are on whatever you're using, or how many buttons or whatever, or who's using what. As long as you're making the best possible music that you can make. So
yeah. And that's what I feel like when I made that switch. My production went somewhere else to a doper place.
Nice.
And I was able to use what I had in my mind and actually apply it and make it come to life.
That's awesome.
And so it's been super dope.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, Ableton, I hope there's some representatives from Ableton listening. You can definitely cut me and Oomahmi that check. We do. We've earned it on here. So today, but all right. Well, this next portion of the interview, I like to call In the Mix. We're gonna speed things up a little bit. It's kind of like rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you're gonna just spin them back to me as quickly as you can. But at the same time, I want them to be well thought out. So if you need to take your time, by all means, go for it.
No, shoot.
Okay. Do you prefer making beats with samples or without?
With.
Nice. What's your opinion on selling and leasing beats online?
With that one, you know what? I'm not really focusing on anyone else and what they're doing. That just takes too much energy from my creation. But I don't knock anybody for what they're doing. If they're inspired, if they're happy doing that, if it's paying their bills, feeding their kids or whatever, I don't judge. So I'm on team whatever works. So if that is what's working for whomever producer and they're selling beats online, then I'm for people winning. So go for it.
Dope. I love that answer. Okay. What's a plugin that every producer should have in their arsenal?
Exhale.
Nice.
It's a modern vocal engine made by Output. It's something I use on every single project.
Dope. And man, Output, they're definitely putting out some great VSTs. Okay.
I know. My next on my list is the analog strings.
Nice.
I gotta get those.
Do you have a book that you think every producer should read?
Okay, so going back to me being visual, I like to look through magazines versus books because I like pictures.
Right.
But I will say there is a documentary on YouTube that this is my sort of fill in the blank for a book. That's so visual. And it's called Everything is a Remix.
Okay.
And it's on YouTube. It's something super dope to watch. And it just talks about exactly what I just said. Everything is a remix.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. Tori Amos, and then Everything is a Remix. That's on my list. Okay.
That's in your mental notes.
Okay. Is there an internet resource that you think that every producer could benefit from? And when I say that, I mean like a website or an app.
I mean, I'm a student at YouTube University. I feel like if there's anything that you need answered, or you have a question, or you need to see someone do it, I always go on YouTube. I have no shame in that. No,
and you shouldn't. You shouldn't at all. It's a great resource, and it's been mentioned on here many of times. So, like you said, there's tutorials on there. There's samples on there. There's any and everything.
And if you need to watch someone do that particular thing maybe that you're trying to do, and that's how you learn, you get the audio and you get the visual.
Nice.
So
dope. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like you, a visual learner. So
yes.
I mean, like sometimes I'll just go to YouTube instead of Google and type in whatever, you know.
Same. Yep.
All right. Well, I want to know what 4 producers are on your Mount Rushmore? If you had a pick and a hammer and you had to put 4 new faces on Mount Rushmore, what producers would be on there?
That is a very cool and really super, super creative question. The Mount Rushmore, I love.
Nice, thank you.
I'm actually getting on the visual, and I'm gonna put the faces on that as I go into that.
Awesome. Nice.
Did you actually come up with that yourself?
Yes, I did.
Oh my god, that is hysterical. Obviously Neptunes are way up there for me.
Nice.
Pharrell and Chad. Okay. I've looked up to them, and I've watched them in the studio. Like I'll secretly, go into, not secretly, but I go in and I enjoy watching that creative process so much, and like how they just get down. They start, Pharrell will get on the piano or whatever, and it's just like it's so unplanned and organic that I'm so drawn to them.
Right.
I gotta go again. Tori Amos, she produces as well. I look up to her so much. She's had such a huge impact on me musically and in my life. So she's got to be on the Mount Rushmore. And I don't know, Chad and Pharrell can split one face.
Yep, I think so. I think we can count them as one.
And then Timbaland. I mean, he's a legend. And how he uses sounds is so inspiring. And then I would say Nicolay.
Nice.
He's kind of an underdog.
Yes,
but
he is.
His production is the way that the foreign exchange, the way that, we all go off of feeling, but the way that music makes me feel, it is... You know how you can't describe it? It just makes me feel so good. I can put on that music and just vibe out. And I even listen to the foreign exchange when I'm out in the field with my camera. So
nice.
Those are my 4.
That's dope. That's a great 4 right there. like I said, I'm unfamiliar with Tori Amos's music as of now, but
yeah, but I know you're gonna get off of here and go find her.
oh, of course, I have to now. I have to, since you speak so highly of her. Like you said, she's not only just an influence on your music, but she's someone that has inspired you just in life in general. And so, just because of
like,
that.
You know, people like touch you through music.
Mm-hmm.
They reach like a center of you that maybe other music hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you love that other music,
Mm-hmm.
some of it hits deeper, like hits to the heart. You know,
Right, for sure.
that's what she's been for me. So it's more than music.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, I love the answer that you gave, because two out of the 4 people, or I guess we could say 5, have never been mentioned on here for this answer. Nicolay and Tori Amos, you know, and Nicolay is, like you said, an amazing producer. His production just goes so well with Fonte. And man, they make some beautiful music together. And so yeah, I definitely love that answer. And I'm now visualizing their faces up on Mount Rushmore in stone. So that's awesome.
Well, we're on the same wavelength right now.
I think so. So, all right. Yeah. Well, I want you to stay in this imaginative mode, and I want you to tell me what's the perfect studio session for you. I want you to imagine that you're in a studio with artist of your choice, a co-producer of your choice, an engineer of your choice, and one random person. Who are those 4 people going to be?
This is good. This is good. Okay, let's see. Let me run through my brain. So artist, this is gonna seem redundant. Tori Amos.
That's all right.
Again, redundant, but I mean, I stick to my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Producer Pharrell.
Nice.
Engineer, Marcel Van Limbeek. He is incredibly amazing, and he produced Tori Amos's 15 of her albums.
Wow.
Or engineered, pardon me.
Right.
And that is like a mind-blowing thing for me.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I mean, that he engineered all of her albums. That's pretty dope. I mean, that's saying enough to say that she trusts him enough to do that. And not only that, but I didn't know Tori Amos had 15 albums. Wow.
Yes.
Putting in work.
Yes. And she has another one coming out, and she's going to tour, and I will be at that show just like I will this time.
Nice.
And the time before that. And then she'll play some of her old stuff, and then that's where Oomahmi loses it, and I'm like, who has this issue?
Well, I'm just surprised that you said show and not shows, plural. But thought maybe you travel with her.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, who's that random person going to be in the studio?
Oh, yeah, I got to get to that. So, it would have to be somebody funny, because music, I think it gets lost a little bit. And I know that it is a business, and there's politics and all that kind of stuff. And you can't get around that. That's in sports and music and in life.
Right.
But I would need somebody that would 9 million trillion % make me laugh, because having fun, I'm making good music. If it's not fun, don't do it. So Will Ferrell.
Nice. I love this.
And it's got to be like in script for like Step Brothers.
Nice.
That girl.
Oh man, I love it. That sounds like definitely the perfect studio session. Man, I'm gonna kneel down by my bed in the evening and pray for you that this actually happens, because I would love to be a fly on the wall in the studio and just imagine and see that studio session. Plus, not only that, I just see you guys all making a great song or EP or album together. How could you not with those 5 people, including yourself in there?
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah, right? That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome.
So ask, like, what's your greatest achievement, or, the greatest this, greatest that. I haven't gotten there, because, like, I'm down for something like that combo.
Yeah, right. for Will Ferrell standing over your shoulder while you're making beats on Ableton,
right.
on the Ableton Push.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right.
And
well,
you know, I won't go there with Step Brothers. If you've seen that movie, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, I have seen that movie. It's a great movie.
There's a drum set involved in that. We all know.
Yep, that's right. Oh man.
Oh, how funny, right?
All right, man. Well, I don't know how we can continue this interview after that. That was a great answer, but we must continue. So,
yes.
What's your favorite song that you've ever produced?
Well, again, I feel like I still have so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know that I can pick a favorite of mine. You know what I mean? I'm just not there yet. I can answer this question in a different way. Favorite song on my EP.
Nice. There
that
you go.
I produced, where I went into like the most spiritual place probably in my life. Is Jasper.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that the last song on the album?
It is.
Okay. Nice. Excellent. Wow. Okay. Well, you guys, beat grinders, you already know you must go listen to Oomahmi's EP, and when you do, check out Jasper for sure. So check out all the songs, but definitely Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper's one of the like really kind of slow. I run the vocal quite a long time throughout the entire track. So yeah, that's arranging. That was a spiritual journey. The whole thing was, but that was kind of on another level for me. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go back and listen to that again because, like I said, Bear was definitely close to me. I like that one a lot, and as well as Siren. So.
Yeah, right. And what's neat is like it's not been out a week yet, and there are favorites, and people, messaging me their favorites, and just to know that there are already favorites that people have is so dope.
Yeah, for sure. That is awesome. The feedback that you're getting.
Yeah, I know Oracle loves Quiver, and then Crucial. His favorite is Suede.
Nice.
He's down with Suede, and my best friend, Melanie, hers is Bear. So you guys are on Team Bear.
Nice. It's great though that everyone has different songs as their favorite. It just shows that it's a complete album. Each song is strong in itself. So
yes,
that's awesome.
Definitely, and that feels really good.
Yeah, it has to be a great feeling. So
it is.
Okay. All right. Well, what's an album besides one of your own that you recommend every producer listen to, and why?
Okay. I'm gonna say Leave It All Behind by the Foreign Exchange. I feel like the reason I would say that is because no matter what type of music, I never like to box myself into anything. But some people have sort of, they listen to hip hop, they listen to R&B, they listen to country, they love classical, they love top 40. I feel like this album, no matter what may be your favorite genre of music, it's an album that almost everybody could connect to.
Right. I can
because
definitely see that.
He pulls so many sounds from. It's not just one sound. Like, you're not just like, it may be like if you go on iTunes, it's under what, but there's all kinds of different sounds that are pulled from different places. So it's not just one thing. And I relate to that a lot because my music, people ask me what kind of music I make, and I don't like to answer that because I just make music. I don't box myself in.
Nice.
I feel like when you do that, I make this music, I make that music, or you're sending something in or whatever, you're already telling someone, you're already giving them an opinion.
Right.
And
yes,
then,
you are.
And of what you do. If you just say, I make music, then you're not limiting yourself.
Right. That's
And
so
the
awesome.
more limitations that you put on yourself, the less advanced you'll be. So that's a roadblock to me.
What? Well, beat grinders, I hope you guys are listening to this. That's definitely great advice right there. I know that that came from the Ratchet Gods in the interview that I had with him. He said that the best music doesn't have a genre. The best music can cross genres. So
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. 1,000,000% agree with that.
That's great right there. Well, you guys go listen to the Foreign Exchange album. I will have a link on the website if you haven't already heard it. So
it's the album, because they have several. It's Leave It All Behind. That's the one that I feel like would reach the people the most.
Okay.
Connected is really good too. But Leave It All Behind. Take Off the Blues. I don't know if you listen to that track, Take Off the Blues, and you don't like it, I don't know if we could be friends.
I hear you. Wow. Well, you guys, you better enjoy that song. So
yeah, it's a good one. It's top 10.
Okay, dope. All right.
For me,
well, this next question, a lot of people struggle with, but I know that you're not gonna have a problem knocking this one out the park. But I want to know, if you woke up tomorrow and you lost everything that you had except for your knowledge and $1,000, so that's including your contacts, your gear, everything, but all you had was the knowledge that you've gained and that $1,000, what would you do? And your kids, what would you do in the next week to restart your career?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I got to give you your kids. I have to do that. What would you do in the next week to restart your career?
Okay, so I have $1,000, but I've lost everything else. I would immediately figure out how to get back into the grind mode. I don't care if I had to go to a furniture store and stand at the corner in the rain and flip a damn sign.
Nice. Dope.
And if it's $10 an hour or whatever, I would find a way to get back into it.
Hustle.
And if it came to, I would put on my resume, best sign flipper in Seattle.
Nice.
Just to get in there.
That's dope.
And I would go buy Ableton Suite, and I would buy my push and my interface and my monitors, and I'd get back cracking.
That's dope right there. That's dope.
Through the night, I don't care.
Okay, so I gotta ask you, is that what you would do with the $1,000, or would you save that and use the money that you're getting from the sign flipping to get the Ableton and the monitors?
Oh, well, I would I'd have the $1,000, and then I don't know what it all adds up to, and I'm terrible at math, so I would need a calculator. But I would take that $1,000 and then work sign flipping to get enough money to buy everything I lost. Nice.
There you go. Okay, I like that answer.
It might take me a week. It might take me a month. I don't care, as long as it gets done.
Nice. Hustle. I love it.
Yeah, big time.
That's dope. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And Beat Grinders, man, I know that you guys are taking note and you guys are seeing how hungry Oomahmi is, and that's definitely how you gotta be. So,
for sure.
All right. Well, I want to know, what does legacy mean to you? And when it's all said and done, and when you're done making music and with photography, I'm gonna definitely throw that in because I know that's a huge part of your life, and it's an art, just like music is. What do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh, this is, this goes back to, again, I make music because it feels good, and because I want to make people feel good or feel something that's like good.
Right.
And as long as I'm touching people in a good way, that's what I want to be known for. Nice. It's nothing complicated. I don't need, statues or fancy clothes or anything like that. It's, service business. This is me just giving. It's not about slanging anything, you know, or selling out, staying true to myself, being happy, loving what I create, and giving it to the world.
That's awesome.
And people loving it, that's enough for me.
That's awesome. I mean, you know, I'm thinking about the same feelings that Tori Amos gives you. You know, I'm sure you want to give that same feeling to someone else. And from what I hear from other artists, is that's the best feeling in the world. It beats the paychecks and everything else. When someone can walk up to them and say, "You've changed my life," you know, in a certain capacity, you kept me from doing this, or you've inspired me to do this, or, you know, I hear artists say that that's the best feeling in the world.
It is. It's so fulfilling. It's more fulfilling. Now, nobody's going to deny a paycheck. I mean,
right, of
why
course.
would we say, "Oh no, I'm not going to take any money"? We all, of course. That's not real.
Right.
That's not real life. But what is more fulfilling than that is that response that you get from people. When I first started making music, I had somebody come through and say on my DM, basically, long story short, this man was very depressed, been through depression most of his life, contemplated suicide 2 times.
Wow.
Listens to my Instagram. This is sort of like 6 months in. I would post like all the time, you know, just different snippets where you had 15 seconds.
Right.
And he said, just listening to those over and over again, he said, lately I've been so down, you know, I thought about, you know, I don't know if I really have the will to live anymore. And just listening to your music, because at that time I was making like arranging a lot of piano and kind of that really deep, not somber, but like really like Enya-y kind of stuff, right? And for whatever reason, this man told me, and I don't know who, you know, I didn't know who he was, that me making that music, these 15-minute snippets, made him want to be alive.
Wow. That's
and at
crazy.
that point, 6 months into it, I knew that was what making music is. My calling. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. It validated everything I felt.
Nice. I mean, that would definitely drive me even more, you know, but I remember in the beginning of the interview, you were saying that you were using a lot of piano samples because, you know, that you knew that your dad loved the piano. And so it just, I don't know if I'm going to say this right or not, but it just, your piano samples kept someone from dying, but you were using those piano samples because of a death.
Isn't that?
That's kind of ironic.
I never really actually looked at it like that, and that's really dope that you just said that. That actually gave me goosebumps.
Wow, that's ironic. That's cool. That is cool, and that's a great feeling just to know that just from 15-second snippets. I mean, imagine what your EP is going to do, and imagine what your LP is going to do when it comes out. You know,
definitely.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not for, you know, saying that you're going to come out with the EP, with the LP. I don't know what you're going to do, but I can only imagine that you're going to come out with more music. So
I am going to come out with more music. There's no doubt about that. But for sure. And this person I still do talk to. I'm obviously not going to say his name.
Right.
But he does love the EP, and he said he's had it on repeat since it came out.
Dope, nice. I'm sure he's not the only one, so that's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Oh, and piano, real quick, piano. I can play a little bit of piano. I'm not dope. But I can play a little. I can play a little bit.
Okay.
But I am going to start taking piano lessons via Skype with Vincent Corver, who is a Grammy-nominated concert pianist, and I became friends through Instagram. You know, that story. And he loves my music. I love his music, and he offers piano lessons via Skype. So guess what I'm going to be doing? I said, let me get the EP out, and then let's go, because that's one thing I've always wanted to do, is be able to get down on a piano and just start like tell the guy at Nordstrom to get off the piano and let me play.
Right, you're right.
Like, hey, can you move for a second? I want to try this out.
That's freaking dope right there, man. Wow, you are building relationships with some key people in the industry, some great musicians, and man, beat grinders, I hope that you guys are taking note, because I definitely am. Oomahmi, she's only been doing this for 2.5 years, and she's aligning herself with some pretty awesome people. So man,
well,
good. And learning from these people.
But you know, music in this industry is about building relationships.
Sure is. Yep, that's so true.
It really is. It's about building relationships.
Not much you can do without relationships.
And exactly, and that's in life.
Yep.
Because all the stuff around us, we can't take with us.
Right.
It's the people that come into our lives and the relationships that we build. That's where the gold is.
Yep. So true. And you know, I mean, you can't do anything. There's only so many things that you can do on this earth alone. You know, and
agreed.
And no one's gonna want to do anything with a stranger. Not too many people. So you definitely need to make relationships with people. Connect with people.
And that's another thing too, is people in this industry need to understand how to approach other people in the industry, and that is talked a lot about on the Unquantized podcast, and there's so many gems that come through there about approach.
Nice.
And how important it is. You have to be able to show and tell people if they're already doing well. Like in my DMs, hey, let's work. I'm not going to reply to that because I don't know who you are.
Right.
And how you have to show people how you can add value to their production. Otherwise, you're just blindly walking. You know, if someone hands you a CD, you're like, you just get that cringy face like, right. What are you handing me? I don't even know who you are. Does it, you know, is there a virus on this? I mean, I don't know what you're handing me.
Right.
It's like I think of it as like cold calling. Someone tries to sell you something and you just hang up on them because you're like, yo, dude, I'm in the middle of something. I don't even know who you are or what you're selling.
Right.
So when it comes to relationships and people wanting to collab and all that, you have to build a relationship first, because otherwise you're just a stranger.
Yep. That is so true. That is so true. Thank you for sharing that. That was definitely some great advice. I mean, the next question I was going to ask you is, what's the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received, and what advice would you have for all the producers listening? I hope that wasn't it.
No. Well, the best advice that I've gotten is from Sound Oracle. And I tend to naturally be an overthinker.
Right.
And, you know, I go, oh, you know, should I put this here? Should I do this there? Think about it 29 times while I'll sleep on it. And I had that conversation with him, and, you know, he even said that he had times where, you know, he would be overthinking things. And, you know, he's obviously seasoned. Right. And, you know, I'm kind of new. And he told me verbatim, overthinking is the enemy of advancement.
Wow.
And I had to just kind of stop and really like let that process and wrap it around my head. And it was like, bingo. I mean, that is so true. If I sit here and I overthink every little thing that I do with my music, I'm never going to get anything out for people to hear. Right. And that really is true. It is the enemy of advancement. And all of us making music want to advance and grow. Same thing.
Yep.
So that's the best advice that I've gotten.
That's thank you for that advice. That is so great. That's wow. I mean, it just rings so true with me as well. You know, I'm definitely an overthinker, and it has kept me from letting people hear my music and putting things out. And so,
Totally. Yep.
wow, something that
You
I'm
have to throw that out the door. That doesn't mean that you can't be picky and think things through.
right. Mm-hmm.
It's just you take it to a level of where you question it so much that becomes more of the focus than your own music.
Yep. Wow.
And you have to throw that out the door, and you have to just know, this is who I am, this is what I love, this is what I'm making, and here you go. Nice. And to the people that connect to it and love it, you know, that feels amazing. And for the people that don't, then, you know, they're not for you and you're not for them. Meaning, you know, they're going to find somebody else that they connect to. That's why there's so many people in music.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
Wow. Well, thank you for
I always say I'm just here for the lovers. That's what I always say.
Nice. Oomahmi is for the lovers. That's awesome.
I'm just here for the lovers.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you for that advice. I think that's a great way to wrap the show up. Is with Oomahmi is here for the lovers, and no, I'm kidding.
Overthinking.
And
overthinking is the enemy of advancement.
Oh yes, with overthinking is
for all the creators.
For sure. Well, thank you for that. This whole interview, you've been dropping dimes. Started off dropping dimes, and you ended dropping dimes, and so definitely appreciate it. And I'm sure all the beat grinders listening appreciate it as well. If you have any more words for the listeners that you want to let them know about, if they're about your project or anything, or if you want to let them know how to contact you, if you want to be contacted, please let them know.
Well, sure. My EP Muse actually came out August 30th, so it's out. It's on and will be on all digital platforms. Some take longer than others, but right now it's Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, TIDAL, Google Play. I think you name them all.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find it there, and then it'll be like, I Shazammed it last night.
Nice.
Shazam my songs. I was like, that's so dope.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
I was like, that's so dope. And then obviously it'll be Amazon like on demand, and there's like a lot of actually more foreign platforms that I hadn't really heard of, but it's everywhere. You just have to find it. I mean, it's on all the major ones.
Okay.
And then as far as advice, if someone were to have had a talk with me before I started music, or maybe right as I was starting, you have to stay true to yourself. Don't listen to what other people say, meaning if they say, well, you can't do that, don't listen to them. And never force anything that doesn't fit.
Nice.
And people would say, come out with an EP, put something out, do this, do that. And I was like, oh gosh, you know, I felt pressure, and it didn't feel right, so I didn't do it. And I waited until I knew it felt right to put out the EP, and I'm glad that I did, because it wouldn't have been right had I listened to everybody else.
Right.
So listen to your gut, follow your heart, stay true to yourself, mean your music. And one thing that is a mantra in my mind often, if it doesn't open, it's not your door. Wow.
Nice. Yep.
So some things that you go, oh, I hope this happens. It's everything. It's going to mean everything, and it doesn't. It wasn't your door.
Yep. That's a great way to look at it.
And it might not, and you can apply that, I think, in your life in general.
Yep.
You've wanted to work out that didn't, but then, you know, years later you go, God, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yep, exactly. Or sometimes that door just doesn't open at the moment you want it to. You know, may open later.
True story. Yes, that also. Thank you for adding that. That's definitely true.
No, yeah.
And music is about building relationships. You have to mess up a lot to get better, and to learn not to mess up again in that particular thing. Mistakes make you better. and believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
Yeah. Why should anyone else?
If you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else? If you're not excited about what your music you're making and producing and putting out there, and you're not excited about that, who's going to be excited?
Right.
Nobody. So those are all just things that I live by, and like certain little mantras in my head, like to keep everything really positive. And in the end, the way that I look at making music is I'm just giving.
Nice. That's great. A great way to look at it. That's awesome.
Giving and help. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you've definitely given a great interview. I appreciate it. I learned a lot. There's a lot that I can take away from this. I've been writing down notes as we've been going along, and I'm gonna reread those notes. Get on YouTube, look up Tori Amos, look up Everything is a Remix. Man, Beat Grinders, I hope you guys are taking notes, and if you haven't, fortunately for you, you can go back and replay this interview over and over and over again. So thank you for listening. This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. Mentorship is very important, as we all know, and on Beats Grinding Life this week you have been mentored by Oomahmi. So thank you for stopping by, Oomahmi, and doing that for us all. Beat Grinders, thank you. Yes, Beat Grinders, keep grinding. See you next week, and peace out. Peace.
Here at Beats Grinding Life, we want to thank you for listening to another episode. We want to know, what were your biggest takeaways from this interview? Just go to beatsgrindinglife.com and leave a comment on this episode's show notes page. Also, while you are there, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just click the little button that says subscribe. If you could, please leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews are the best way to show your appreciation, because it helps more people find out about the podcast. So until next week's episode, keep grinding.